Hey YouTube, welcome back to Vintage on Vintage. Hey, today I'm going to do an SGC reveal and a preview at the same time. I'm stealing a little bit of COG Sports Cards philosophy, Snake and Rusty Nuts. If you haven't seen their channel, it's a fantastic channel. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but they do a lot of great breaks and they do a lot of submissions. And what they do is they do a preview and then it goes right into the grading piece, which I think is kind of a cool way for people to see these reveals. So I'm gonna give that one a shot this time through. So I'm gonna be sending in 8 cards to SGC. The first one I'm gonna send in is this 1960 Carl Yastrzemski rookie card. I've shown this before on the channel. It's a beautiful card. Like, the centering is really good in the front. Left to right's a little off, but it's really good. The issue with this card, when I bought it, they felt there was a little water damage. So I have a little bit of a concern it could come in as an A or get graded down in the 2 range because of that. But if not, my belief is that this is a 3 to a 3.5. I'd love to see anything in above 3 or above. I think on this card would be great. It's going to look fantastic in the PSA slab. It's a beautiful card. This next card I'm really excited about. I've shared it with you. Unfortunately, it's a little crooked in the card saver, so I apologize. But this is the Joe Morgan rookie card, the 65 rookie card. And this card is sweet. I mean, it is well centered, top to bottom, left to right, really sharp corners. When you look at the back, the centering left to right, top to bottom are good. There's slight fading, but not much. Like, this is a beautiful card. I believe that this card has a really good shot at coming in at a 7 to a 7.5. And anytime you get above 7 in vintage cards with SGC, that's a really good grade. So that's what I'm shooting for. I'd love to see this thing come in the 7.5 range. This George Brett I picked up at my local card store, I think for 80 bucks a couple of years ago. I've shared it with you before. It's in nice shape too. The centering is really good, left to right, top to bottom on the front. Got a little bit of softness or chipping, color in both of those corners. When I flip it, right, left to right, I would tell you that it looks off center. So that's what worries me. I think this card could be in the 5 to 7 range. I'm hoping for a 6. I think a 6 would be a really good grade for this card. And if I get something in that range, I'd be really happy. Here is the Mickey Mantle I shared on my very first video, the 66 Mantle. This is, I think, a beautiful card. If you look at it left to right, it's centered really well. Top to bottom is also, very well centered. When you flip it to the back, it's a beautiful card. You can see it's a little off, like I said, left to right, top to bottom, but it's close. Corners are a little soft, but it's a beautiful card. I'm thinking this is a 3.5 to a 4. Would love to see it come back in that range. The next 4 cards are my 71 cards, and they're duplicates. So the first one's going to be Henry Aaron. This one I just picked up yesterday, as a matter of fact, at my LCS. Little bit of softness there in each of the corners, right? They're a little soft, but if you look at the left to right, it's a pretty nice card. It's well centered. I would tell you, I think this is in the 5 to 7 range. I would love to see it come in at a 6. I think a 6 in this card would be really nice. And then here's the Henry Aaron that I won in an eBay auction. This one is better. It's sharper, right? The corners, they're pretty strong. The centering is really good. I worried a little bit about how tight it is on the top, but when I measured it to the other cards, it looks great. So from a size-wise, so I expect it to get graded. I believe the card itself should be in the 7 range. I'm looking for a 7 on this card. I think that would be a great grade for this. Last 2 cards are the Roberto Clemente 71s. This is the one I picked up for $32 at an antique store in Michigan. And, it's got a little softness in the corner, but outside of that, I think the centering is really good on this card. When I saw it, I figured it was minimally a 5. I still do. I think it's in the 5 to potentially 7 range. I'd like to see it come in at a 6. So that's what I'm hoping for this one. And then here's the Clemente that I picked up at the LCS. I paid more for this one. It's It's sharper, the corners are better, the centering's pretty solid on this card. I think this is the better of the two cards. I'd like to see this one come in at a 7, which for a 71 would be great. So the next step will be I'm going to send these off, and in a few minutes we'll see what I got, and we'll see if I'm right compared to what SGC says. So stay tuned, and we'll see it soon. Thanks. Hey YouTube, the cards are back. Before we see how we did, I'll tell you I sent these in through Nash Cards out of Tennessee. $23 a card. Solid customer service. They came back quickly. They communicate with you the whole step of the way. So if anybody's interested in using them, I would highly recommend it. Okay, let's jump right in. Here is the Yastrzemski. I think in the first video I said it's going to look good in a PSA slab. Of course I meant SGC slab because these are going to SGC. This was the one with the water damage, so I was kind of hoping high end it would be in the 3 to 3.5 range, but I had concerns it could be anywhere from authentic to a 1 or 2. So let's see what we got. And we got an authentic. Okay, let me take a look at that because it tells us now why it's authentic, and it says it doesn't meet the minimum size requirement, which there's a slight bit of white there, as you can see, or a space between the end of the card, but I felt this card size-wise wasn't an issue. My concern was the back, so I'm a little disappointed in that. At least that's the reason it got the authentic. When you look at it in the slab from the front, it just looks beautiful. It still has a lot of eye appeal. Still a good-looking card. Was hoping it would come back into a grade and not authentic, but you know, that's how it was. That's what it is. Joe Morgan rookie card. I was pretty excited about this card. You know, once again, it's weird when you get them back. You can always see a little more than when you first send them in. But I still thought this thing was centered really well. I thought it was going to be between a 7 to a 7.5. I thought it was a strong card. You know, now when I'm looking at the back, I'd probably lean towards the lower end, the 7. But I still think it's a really strong card and should be a good grade. So let's see how Joe Morgan did. And it came back a 5. Wow. So I'm a little disappointed in that. I'd be lying. If you look at the centering on this card, it's just really good. And although the corners aren't perfect, I still think this is better than a 5. But so I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed in that. I thought this thing had a good shot at being up near 7. Here's the George Brett rookie. This one I knew on the front, you know, it has a little bit of chipping in the corner. I knew on the back it wasn't all that well centered. So I was thinking it was in the 5 to 7 range, and optimistically I'd like to see a 6. You know, based on how the first two came in, I'm gonna guess it's probably lower. I'm gonna guess it probably came in the low end of the range. So I'd love to see a 6, but I'm guessing this is gonna come in at a 5. And it did come in at a 5. And, you know, I kind of knew that when I sent it in. I think realistically, I was hoping I might get a 6, but 5 is probably a fair grade for this card. You know, it's still a George Brett rookie. Still looks great in the slab. Always good to have it. So here's the Mickey Mantle I shared on my very first video, the 66 Mantle. I think this is a beautiful card, especially in the back. It's just front and back, you know, the corners are not bad. The centering is just slightly off, but I thought this was a strong card. I thought this was between a 3 and a 4. I was, you know, anything over a 3 I'd be happy with, but I was really hoping for a 3.5 to a 4 on this one. So let's see how the Mick did. And there we go, a 4.5. So that one is the first time I've been over my estimate, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's a beautiful looking card in the slab. It looks great. 4.5 for a Mickey Mantle. I'll take that all day. So that one was a win. Last 4 are the 71s, 2 Aarons and 2 Clementes. This was the Aaron I bought the day of I went to set it in. And, you know, I'm not sure I should have sent this one in. I thought I had a shot at a 5 to a 7. But, you know, there was a lot of chipping on this, but I had bought it that day and I was pretty optimistic. So, and now when I look at the back and I know there's some chipping on the front, my guess is going to be it's going to be lower than that 6, probably in the 5 range. But let's see. It's a 4. So yeah, I probably shouldn't have sent this card in. It was one of those ones, you know, you bought it that day and you're getting all excited and you know you're setting a couple more in, so I added it hoping that I'd get a better grade than that. If you look at it, when you look at, you know, the corners and then the back, you know, it's a 4 to a 5. I mean, I could have got a generous 5, but a 4 is probably the right grade for it. Here's the other Aaron that I picked up at an auction on eBay, and I thought this was a 6 to 7, and I was looking for a 7. This is a sharp card. The only thing I was concerned about was the tightness on the top, but I thought this has a realistic shot at a 7. So let's see what they said. It's a 6. Okay, well, I thought it was a 6 to a 7. The tightness up here might have cost it a little bit, but you know, I'm not going to complain about a 6. 71's my favorite set. Aaron's my favorite player. And, you know, to get a 6 and a 71's a pretty good score, a pretty good grade. So I'm okay with that one. Here's the 2 Roberto Clementes. This was the one I picked up at the antique store in Michigan for like 32 bucks. When I saw it, I thought it was a 5 or a 6. So let's see what they think. And it's a 6. Okay, wow. So I'm happy with that. That was a great purchase, of course. And then, you know, a 6, once again, 71's one of my favorite sets. Clemente ranks right up there with Aaron as one of my favorite players. This is just a great card. To get a 6 and a 71 Clemente makes me pretty happy. So that's a nice grade. And then here's the Clemente that I picked up at my LCS. I paid more for this. I thought it was sharper. I'm hoping that this one's a 7. I thought it was a better of the 2 cards, but I thought it was between a 6 and a 7 with a really good shot at a 7. So let's hear what they say. And it's a 6. Okay, so once again, a 6 is a good grade. Both of these graded exactly the same. I believe this card is still the sharper of the 2. Maybe not a full grade sharper, but I thought it was the sharper of the 2. So, but I'm happy. You know, I'm happy with the 2 Clementes. This Aaron is a nice grade. I was hoping for a 7, but a 6 is a solid grade, and really, really stoked about this Mantle. So that's my upside happiness. You know, 2 I'm most disappointed with are the authentic, even though it's still a beautiful card. I was hoping I'd get a grade on this one, so I'm a little disappointed in that, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed in this Morgan rookie card. So, I mean, there you have it. Probably a mixed reaction. Most of the grades were less than what I thought they would be. Still some pretty solid grades. So let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you watching. Please comment. If you haven't subbed to the channel, please do. Otherwise, thanks again. Keep collecting. Have a great day. Stay safe. Take care.